Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be continuing our lectures in developing web applications using Django, using Python Django. Django is a framework very effective in creating very fast, robust, and scalable web applications. And to do this, I'm going to quickly share my screen so that we can continue. So yesterday we were able to create our first view. We were able to write our first view. And to do that, we simply went into the post app that we created, the views.py, and we did the first import, HTTP response, which we imported from the package django.http. Then we defined a function index that returns this HTTP response, hello world, you are at the post index. So that was what we were able to do. And in order to do this, we created this view, and then we went into the url.py, post url.py, and we're able to get this very part, which is view.index, in order for us to view the view. So once we do this, we'll now go to the main app URLs, which is in our case is post tab, but here is my site. So there we were able to now include the director to this very post app using include. And that is why we had to import include and path from the package django.url. So the one that came with it is the admin, because Django already has the admin backend with it. And that's why Django is one of the most popular backend that you can use. So these are from the Django website, djangoproject.com, under documentation. That's where we have all these. And what we have here is also what we have in our website, where I highlighted the steps needed. So I'm going to go through these steps again before we can continue. So in going through these steps again, the first thing we did was that we went to our desktop, and this is my desktop for the benefits of people that are just joining us today for the first time. So I right click and created this a folder, Django. That was the first thing I did. And immediately after doing that, I opened VS Code. So this is VS Code. So I opened that very folder, Django, inside VS Code. So that is the next thing to be done. Opening the folder that you created, the folder that is going to house the whole of your Django application. The name is Django. Then I went to VS Code, open VS Code, and open that very folder in the VS Code. So it was after doing that that I then started giving the instructions that will help install Django and do the needful. So those instructions, like I said, it's on Django website and it's also on Ekene Uni website. If you want to get all of them, simply get to jamboeknekouni.com/Django-steps. So after creating this folder, I opened it up in VS Code. The next thing to do will be to install Django. And to install Django, you simply type out this code, Python -m pip install Django. So put it here in the terminal. This is where you put it. If you're not seeing your terminal, simply press Control and the back tick, or simply get to this place where they wrote terminal. Click on it. You will see new terminal. Click on new terminal so that you can see this down place. Make sure that you're inside Django/Django directory. So put that very code here and run. So this is the code, Python -m pip install Django. So that installs Django for you, and that is the first step that you're going to do to get Django in your system. The second step will be to check the version of the Django, and this step also ensures that you actually have Django. If you check the version and you're not able to see, that means you don't have it. So get this very code, Python -m Django --version. This is --. Make sure you do that. So if you put this code here and press the enter key, you're going to see the version. And the version we install is the latest version 3.1. After doing that, the next step will be to create your web application or your website. So depending on what you have as the name, our name here is Poster, but it can be your sports Bet Niger app, it can be a school app, it can be anything. So put the name here by simply saying Django admin start project. That's the command, start project. If you want to start the whole of the website, start project. Or if you want to start an app that will be inside the website, it will be start app. That's the difference. So when you say Django admin start project Poster, that means we are creating a web application known as Poster. So once you create this, you will now be able to see the directory. You have two posters. The one is for the project, and the other one is for the main application project. So you're seeing double poster, and this is where you see them. So this place, you have inside your poster, you're going to see poster, and you're going to see another poster. You can see this is poster, this is poster. So this one contains the main application. So inside here, you have the init.py or the double underscore init double underscore py. It tells Python that this is actually a Python package. Then ASDI, like I said, relates to ASDI related file, just like WSDI. The URL.py is going to help in directing all the views that you'll be creating in the apps that are going to be housed inside this poster. That's what you do. Whereas the settings will help us to include any new app that we'll be creating. The manage.py, which is inside the main directory, is going to help us to run the server. And that is the first thing we are going to do today as we are continuing from where we stopped. So the next thing we did was to do start app pools. That was the next thing we did. So if you're following these instructions, this is where I explained where most of these settings.py, init.py, what they do. Then we now did python manage.py.run server. Once you run it, you can copy these ports, http :127.0.0.1 :8000. These very ports, copy it and paste it in the address bar. It will lead you to the website that you've created. So once you're done that, you're going to create your first app, which is post. And that is this post that we have here, this very post. So to create this very post app, what we did was we said python manage.py start app post. So once you do it, it's going to create the post app with the attendance files that will be inside it. And that's what we did here. So if you open this post app, you're going to see the attendance, the admin.py, apps.py, models.py. And we all know that Python is a model, uses what we call model view controller architecture. So the model represents the database. The view represents what you see when you look. The view simply means the web pages, the website, the web pages actually, the web apps, what you see, what the clients see when they access your site. The model is the database that is connected to it. Then the controller is the connection or the logic, which we are going to be looking at as we go forward. So I believe that is where we'll stop for the benefits of people that are just joining. Then what we now did was that we wrote the first view for the post app, and to do that, we simply went inside the view.py. So if you get to your VS Code, you will see views.py. This is view.py. So once we open it, this is what is showing there. So this is showing there because we came here, we took up this code. So this very code is also in the Django website. You can access it there. So this is the first, writing your first view, this very code, and it should be inside the what? Views.py in post. So once you write this view, this is a simple view, just telling us, hello world, you are in the index page. We are going to be creating more elaborate views in future, but this is the first one that we have. So after that, we now went to, in order to link up this view so that you can get it when you type in something in your address bar, we went to url.py for the post app, and we created this. And that is what you can have here. This is url.py. So this very code, you can see it from the website, Django project website. It's also in our website where the steps are clearly stated. Then after that, we now went to the url.py of the main site, which is the post site, to connect the url.py of the post app to it, so that once we click, we can get it. And that is what we did here. And in our VS Code, you can see that in the second url.py file. So, and that is this one. So we are using the path and include here, and that's why we had to import them. So that is what we did. So in this, I'm going to just cd into poster so that I can run this code again. So cd into poster. So before you run your manage.py.run server, make sure that you're in the poster. If you do it in the full Django directly, you will not get it. So you can see now I'm in my poster. So there in the poster, I can now run Python manage.py space run server. So with that, my development server is going to get up, and I'm going to be able to see all that we've done, and we can continue doing further. So if you are a digital audience and you have any mix-up, you have questions to ask, if you're watching us from Facebook, drop it in the comment section in Facebook. If you're watching us on YouTube, drop it in the comment section in the YouTube, so that we can attend to all these questions. Okay, so what I just did was that I went from when we started down to where we are now, so that we can understand what we are doing. So you can see this very the development server is now running on this port. So I can simply copy this port if I want. So if I copy and I say Ctrl+C to copy, you can also do Ctrl and double click on this, or Ctrl click on this to open it. So if I simply copy that and I come to a new browser, I paste that very port, I press the enter key, we are going to see our website there. So that is how to run it. Okay. So it's asking me, do I want to get to admin or post? So because I've already created post, I'm going to simply go to dot post, which is what we did yesterday. So you can now see, hello world, you are in the post index. And this is clearly what is written in the view. So if you go to open the view.py inside post, you see it, hello world, you are in the post index. So this is the first view, and this is going to look like our web page. We are going to develop this view to make it look better. So instead of saying hello world, I'm going to simply say hello Django developers. You are in the post index. So everybody do that. I'm going to do Ctrl+S to save this. So once I save it, what it does is that it does auto reload. So you can see it's finished reloading. So if I get back to my site, this is what I'm having. If I refresh now, I'm now seeing hello Django developers. You are at the post index. You can see. So the views actually represent what you want the client to see, or what you want people accessing your website to see. And that's why when we make these changes, we'll quickly hook up to the website, we'll see these changes. So that is how it's going to go. So we're going to continue the next steps. And the next steps are either in our website, or you get to Django website. So we are now in the part 2. That is where we are starting today. Part 2. We are done with part 1. So let's see whether we are going to finish up part 2. And I hope everybody understood what happened in part 1 was the creation of the folder, the starting of the web app, which is poster, and the starting also or creation of the component app, which is post, and creating a view for that post. That's what we've been able to do. So in this next class, we are going to be looking at setting up the database. So we're going to be given the instructions that will set up the database. And from the instructions that we see here, we can see that this can be done inside settings.py. So the settings.py inside the main project, which is poster, there is a settings.py there. So I'm gonna reduce all this so that you will be able to see. This is poster. So when you open the main application, you're gonna see settings.py. So this is where we are gonna be able to set up our database. So I'm going to be showing us in a jiffy. So if you scroll down, you're gonna see installed app. Every app that you install, you include it here. The post app, we're gonna include it here so that when we run our initial manage.file.branch server, we should be able to quickly get to the app. So all the apps should be here. You can see this is admin. Like I told us, Django comes with the admin fully installed. You can only customize. You can customize and make it look like what you want. But you can see the admin app is already here. So the post app, we are going to bring it in here. So this is where any app simply means any new web page. If you have blog and you create a blog app, make sure you install it here so that your website should be able to know that you created such app. If you create a profile app, you install it here, and simply installing it simply means putting a line of code just like we have here. So we're going to look at that. So any middleware that you have, it has to also be here. Okay. So this is the database that we're going to be using. Databases, you can see we have SQLite 3. That is not the only database that you can use for Django. You can use Postgres database. You can use MySQL. So with time, for this first lesson, we are going to use this database the way it is here. So that's why we're not going to be setting up much here because we are using the SQLite 3. But when we'll be using MySQL or Postgres, we should be able to come here and set up the database. So that's what we are going to do. Okay, so let's get back. So after the database is set up, like I said, we are using SQLite, so we're not doing much. But if you want to use Postgres, you're going to use this very code in that very space. So when we want to use Postgres or MySQL, we'll be able to experiment that, but we'll leave that as that for now. Then under installed app, like I said, you're going to have Django admin. It's already there. But any new app that you install or you create, you're going to be able to put it under installed app. So let's continue. Because we have our database already set up, the MySQL database, this is it, SQLite, not MySQL, SQLite database, that's the backend we are using. So let's continue now. So the next step would be to run Python manage.py migrate. So when you migrate, all those databases will be created immediately. So that is how you create the database. You must have set up the database before you run the migrate. But we are not doing any major setup because SQLite 3 is already set up for us. So let's run the migrate immediately. So the code is simply what? Python manage.py migrate. So I'm going to get back to this place now. I'm going to leave my development server running on this very one. So I'm going to click on plus in order to have another terminal. Because the development server has to be running so that we can easily access it. So since I'm here now, I'm going to do what? I'm going to now issue the command to create the databases that I've already set up. And that command is what? Python manage.py space what? Migrate. So I press the enter key. Oh, sorry. Make sure that you're in the right directly. So I have to cd into poster first. Poster, make sure that you're in the right directory. So I'm now in poster. Make sure that poster is the last thing that you see here. So this is where I will now run the code Python manage.py migrate. So if I do that, it's going to run the migration. You can see operation to migrate is applying all the migration. So it's creating all the databases now needed for my work to do. So you can see DB3 here. So it's creating all the database. You can see everything is okay. That means that the migration is properly done. So the back end, which is the database, has been taken care of. So we'll also go to the model and create the database fields the way we want them. So that is what we've done. That is what we've done. So the next thing will be to create the models. So whenever you hear create models in Django, it simply means creating the specific fields that will be in the database. And we say that Django is a model view controller architecture form of framework. So the model is your database. The view is the web pages that the client see, whereas the controller is the logic that does the connection. Okay, so let's get to here. You can see now we have creating the models. So in our pool app, we'll create two models. So those two models are going to be model for question, because we want to take up question description and everything about the question. And the choices, we are creating a pool. So somebody should be able to see something and pick out what he likes. That's what pool does. You understand? In poll, they can bring out, who do you want to be the next president of the United States of America? They will put Donald J. Trump. Then they will put Joe Biden. So people now come and vote. Is that clear? The question there is, who do you want to be the president? That's the question. Whereas the choices are what? Donald J. Trump and what? Joe Biden. Is that clear? Then you now pick your option. So as you're picking your option, the pool for that person is rising. So that's what we're trying to create here in this very application. We want to pick out a pool so that in the next election, you can say, who do you want to be the next president of Nigeria? Do you want El-Rufai, or do you want Bola Tinubu, or do you want P2B? So you're going to see all those options, and you should be able to pick out the right option. So such an app is what we are creating. So if you're able to create it now and know how to do it, in subsequent election, you should be able to build a Django app that can pick out polls, and you'll be able to predict. You can open up a small consultancy firm that tells people how the election is running. So before the election, you're already able to predict this is the person that is likely to win. Because when people get to the poll and vote, you will see it in your website there. And you should be able to, when you go to sit down and talk to people about your application, to be able to predictively tell them this is going to be the president. And when the election happens, the person wins, they'll be like, oh, your consultancy firm is actually doing the right thing. So that's the concept we are going to be using. So, and in order to create this model, we simply get to where? Inside the Pools app, that's where we are working. Go to the model.py and impute this very code. Inside the where are we doing it? Inside the model.py that is inside Pools app. So that's what we are doing. So this very code, that is what you use in creating the model. So I'm going to quickly put that and explain that to you. So this is my Post app. So I'm going to click on this Post app. For it to open, you can see model.py. You did not create this model.py. Immediately you created this app, it came in. That is why Django is already well structured for you. It just left for you to develop, having in mind what we call model view controller. There has to be model, which is the database, and that's what we are working on now. View is where the client see. You understand? So with your help of your URLs and other logic that you write, you'll be able to write out your controller that will be able to manage this for you. So I can come here now. This is where they wrote create your models here from Django import models. So I'm going to just take out everything here and put what I got from the website, which also repeats here from Django import model. And these are the models I'm importing. So model simply means database tables. Model simply means what? Database tables. What tables are we having? The question table. And this question table is going to have the question text. In this our case, who is going to be the president of Nigeria? Pop date is the day that this question was created. Then in the choices table, you're going to have the following field, question. And this question is going to relate to the question that is already put here. And the choices, we're going to be having El-Rufai, we're going to be having Bola Tinubu, we're going to be having P2B as our option. Then votes will not take those, anybody that click, your vote should be inside this vote so that we can know how many people have voted for P2B or Bola Tinubu or El-Rufai. So that is how you structure your model. The question is here and the word choices. So model simply stands for table, whereas this question text and pop days represent the fields in the table. The fields in the table. So with that, I can do Control S to save. Okay, so once I do that, the model is created. So I hope you're following up. We are taking this class gradually so that you get to know, understand the flow. Once you do the first application, once we are done with this posters app, the next application will be pretty easier for you. But try to understand how we'll go. We created the website first, which is the web app poster. Then we created the full app, which is the component app or a web page inside the app, inside the main web project. Created the view, linked up the view to the URL and to the URL of the main app. Now we want to create the model. And that's what we just did. So what is explained here is the data type of the various fields of the model. So when you get to this code, you're going to see question text. Question text, what kind of data is it? Is it a character field? Is it a number or is it a date time? Question text is a character field because it's a combination of letters and numbers. Whereas publication date, what kind of data type is it? It is a date time data type. And that's why you must say model.char field if it is a simple text or a collection of string. But if it is a date, you use what? Model.datetime. Question is also a form of char field, but it's a foreign key. Why is it a foreign key? Because we already have a question here. So question here is also repeated here. So when you are linking up a field from one table to the other, you have to name it as the foreign key. Then here, choice text is also a char field because choice text, which is whether it's RFI or P2B, they are all character text, so they are char field. Then both is integer field. Why is both integer field? Because both are numbers. If you have one vote, it's 1. If you have 20 votes for RFI, it has to be 20. It's integer. That's why we are using integer field. So take note of what you are going to be using here. Once you say your model dot, if it is going to be a number, it has to be integer field. If it's a text, plain text, it has to be a char field. If it is a foreign key, which is a field that is already in one table, it has to be model.foreign key. So that is what is here. So I'm trying to explain this code to you now so that you understand. Now, inside the brackets is where you put the maximum length. What you are typing, do you want it to be up to 200 in length? That's what you put there, maximum length. So maximum length for choice is 200, for question is also 200. So for vote, you can default to 0 if no vote has been done. But if you vote 1, 2, it now has to be to any number. But default, we are putting 0 here for starting in case if no vote is done yet. Then inside the bracket for the question, you have to write this on delete equal to model.cascade because this is functioning as a word foreign key inside this very table. So what is happening here? What is happening here is very, very simple. We are saying from Django.db package, we want to import models because models is what we are creating. So that's what we did here. We imported model, which is a package that is inside Django.db. Then using this model that we imported, that's what we're able to use to create these two tables. So the first table is what? Question table. So we now inside bracket, we put models.model because we are using model to create it. So this question table is a model. Then the second table is choice table. So we also say models.model. So when we say class, we already know class is a blueprint for creating objects. So in Django, we are using what we call object-oriented programming way of writing Python. And that's why we use class to declare these two tables. So these two now are objects. They are what? Classes. With that, you can create the object of these very two tables. And that is what we have in the model. If we have any other table we want to capture, we still say the same thing. Class, we put the name of the table. Then in bracket, we put models. The first model has to be in small letter dot model in big letter. Then we'll now highlight the labels or the fields, taking note of their data types and their function as well as their lengths. So that is how you create model. And that is what we've done, and we've done perfectly well. So the explanation that they gave here is what I've just explained to you. So the next thing now will be to do what? Activate the various models. So the next thing will be to do what? Activate the various models. So very importantly, we need to go to the settings and set this up so that the post app will be seen. Then we'll make our migrations. So to do that, make sure that this is what you are having in your installed inside settings. So I'm going to pick out this code. Then I'll get back to this place. Make sure that I'm inside poster, this poster, and inside settings. So once I'm there, I'll simply go to the installed app because I want to connect the post app now. So these are the installed app. So I'll replace what I have here with what I just got so that I will now be having post app. You can see now there is now post app here. So I'll do Control S to save this action that I just did. So once I'm done with that, I can now run the migration to create the objects of the model that I've done. And to run the migration, I simply give this very command, Python manage.py, make migrations for posts. Because I've created the models of the posts, I now want to do what? Activate them. So to activate them, I simply what? Run this code, Python manage.py, make migrations posts. So it's going to create all the tables for us. So you can see what it's saying now, making migration for posts, and it's creating model for what? Both question and what? Choices. So with this, I've created the model and I've activated them. So when you go to the back end now, you should be able to see these two models that are just created. So that is the next thing to do. Okay. Okay, and you can also see here by running make migrations, you are telling Django that you've made some changes to your models. In this case, you've made new ones, and that you would like to make these changes to be installed in the migration. So if you read through here, you get the same explanation that I've given. Migrations are how Django stores changes to your models, and you know that your models are your tables in your database, and thus your database schema. There are files on the disk. You can read the migration for your new model if you like. It is in the file what? Post migration /001 file. So if you get to post, you can see this very migration. This is inside post. If you go to migrations, you see migration 001. You click on it, you can see now. So this is the migration that you've done. You can see it automatically populates this for you. That is why Django is so powerful. It does a whole lot of things for you. So don't worry, you are not expected to read them every time. Django makes one, but they are designed to be human editable in case you want to manually tweak them. There is a command that will run the migration for you and manage your database schema automatically. That is called migrate, and we'll come to it in a moment. But first, let's see the SQL that migration will run. So the SQL migrate command takes migration name and returns the SQL. So you can simply run this code to see how it does in SQL, but it's not necessary for us. So we'll go on. Well, okay, let's try it out. Okay. So I'm gonna run this to see it in form of SQL. Okay, so you can see. So when you run this code, begin, create model, you created the model for question and created the model for choice. So this is the same thing, but in form of SQL language, where you have create table, post choice, that's the table you created. It gave it an ID, which is the auto increment, just the way we create our SQL statement. but Django does it for us. So that is not necessary for us for now. Okay. So you should see something similar to this. So this is what we are seeing there. And this is the explanation of all that I've done. So let's run another migration. To affect the changes that we've done so far. So I'm going to run another migration. You just save. Okay, so you can see that all migrations has been applied and all of them are okay. So that does it for our database. So the next thing will be, yeah. You're not seeing my screen? Okay. So let me make my screen to be full. Okay. So when we are done with this, we are now going to play with the shell to put in some values into our database. That will be the next thing we are going to do. We are going to put in some value into this newly created database. So that will be the next thing we are going to do. So I'm going to leave us time to do all that we've said so far. So once we are done with all that we've said so far, we can continue with playing with the API. That's the next thing we do. Playing with the API. That's the next thing we do. Yeah, so any questions?
Hello, sir.
There are no questions. I'm going to allow you to practice all the things.
Hello, sir. Hello,
Yes.
sir. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the class, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, please, when do we continue?
Okay, we're going to continue. I'm going to ask everybody in the physically present if they're able to do everything that we've done and they're okay with it, then I'll communicate when we are continuing in the WhatsApp chat.
Please, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you. God bless.
You're welcome.